world sees all. And first, I'd just like to say that I saw some messages earlier on. Young ladies asking for healing prayers. Absolutely, you'll probably see that, Chris, when you take a look there. But before we begin anything else, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide Gregor, who is, as always, standing to my right side. And of course, I'd always like to say good morning, Chris.
Good morning, everyone.
Now, there's some issue with the camera, so I may be be looking in the wrong direction. Chris, will you tell me if I start to look in the wrong direction, if I get a bit cross-eyed or what have you? You can tell me, right?
I will try.
All right. Okay. So let's see, what have I been doing this morning? I was awake at 6 o'clock this morning. I only had 3 hours sleep because I couldn't sleep last night. And of course, every morning, my darling boy wakes me up 6 a.m. without fail. Doesn't matter what time he goes to bed. Doesn't matter. 6 a.m. on the dot. It's almost as if he's got this little alarm clock in his head. But by 6:30, my daughter and my grandson were up, and by 7:30 they were out and they're swimming at the moment, even as we speak. But he may be coming home a little bit early today, which means that you'll all get to see him. So this is a live show. I'm going to be babysitting him, so I'm sorry, but I have to do this. As much as my attention would like to be entirely focused on all of you, when my grandson's around, I'm afraid nobody else stands a chance, including my daughter. So we've been having a lot of fun. Chris, what have you been doing this week?
Well, it's our anniversary week, so we took a trip to Maine. And we sat by the water and we watched seals frolic in the ocean.
Now, you say it's your anniversary, but it's your wedding anniversary, right?
Yes.
Am I allowed to say how many years?
Absolutely. I'm proud of them.
32 years. And for those of you who don't know Chris, her husband is just lovely. And you're very lucky, Chris, right?
Extremely.
Okay. So, do we have anyone? Is there anybody around? I can see on the side here, I can see some people asking questions. If I can say, before we begin the Q&A, if I can just say to everybody, if you could put in one question, just one question, and we'll see how we go. If there is time for a second question, we'll let you know, and then you can put in another, and even another if there's time. But if you could just put in one question, so that gives everybody else who comes in a chance to ask their questions too, and then we'll go from there. So, Chris, why don't we just dive in then? Shall we just dive in?
Well, I'd love to dive in, but right now we've got mostly good mornings. Cheryl saying happy Thursday. Wookie Bear says hi, Rosemary. Deidre says good morning, Rosemary. That's all we have right now.
Oh, that's it then. Oh, well, maybe no questions then today. So if there are no questions, Chris, does this mean we can go home early, or does it mean we can have a story time, or what does it mean, Chris?
Well, I think it means Cheryl's ready to dive in.
Oh, well, I was just going to tell you. I actually on my Instagram, I always try to put on Instagram in the mornings that we're doing this, and I put up a photo of me making shortbread, and it was funny because I put up the photograph of me making shortbread, and then I put in this morning was a Q&A, and then it occurred to me that people might think that it's a Q&A about cooking. If you have a question about cooking, by all means throw it my way. I may know the answer, or I may not know the answer. My grandson thinks that I know the answer to pretty much everything there is to do with cooking, and actually everything else as well. He's at that age, you know. He thinks his Mosey is all-knowing and all-seeing, and maybe he's right. You never know. Anyway, so
I was going to say, what? She's not?
I know. But it was funny because it was a great picture of me making shortbread and having a lot of fun. And I thought, oh, I'll share that photo. But didn't really get to explain why I'd put the shortbread up, but I was saying join us for our Q&A. Anyway, do we have questions? If Cheryl's got a question, let's go for it then.
Okay. So Cheryl says, when my grandmother was put into a nursing home, I was told not to bother her. Does she know I was told to stay away since she's now passed? I feel so guilty.
Oh, Cheryl, don't feel guilty, please. I don't know who told you that, and whoever told you that. Well, we know that they were wrong to tell you that. But of course, when we have people of any age, and especially with your grandmother, you want to do the right thing. And when somebody says, "Oh, don't bother her, don't you're disturbing her," and so on, there is a tendency for people to think that guess what? That's I better leave her alone. I'd better do the right thing. But don't feel guilty about it for 1 second. And does your grandmother know? Your grandmother reads your heart, my darling. She knows everything. So why wouldn't she know? Why would she not know that? But I'd like to give a little heads up to all of those of you who are out there who are in the same predicament. Should you go? Shouldn't you go? What should you do? If you really feel that you want to go and visit someone, then that's what you should do. You only have to stay like a second or two if that's all that you're allowed to stay. But it is important for us, isn't it? And Cheryl, you must know this, and please don't feel guilty, but it is important for our loved ones to see that we care. And what a shame that one person would tell you, don't interrupt her, don't disturb her, don't whatever, because she may have been there thinking, well, I thought that my family would have come to visit me, and they haven't done. She knows better now, doesn't she? She absolutely knows better, and she knows that it was the thing that you wanted to do the most, but you were prevented from doing it. So yes, don't worry, Cheryl, she knows. Yes, let's have another question, Chris.
Okay, this is a little long, so just wait till I'm done here. Mark is on.
Morning, Mark.
Something horrible happened this last year and is very worrisome to me. Would Gray Eagle and you, precious Rosemary, give sound advice? A young man violently committed suicide 2 homes north of my home, and it was sold, and the owners are remodeling. However, this house probably still has Zachary's anger within its invisibility. Do I offer to smudge this home? There is a great deal of negativity in this home, and I fear new owners. What can I do or should I do?
Well, I think that the new owners will know what happened in the house, because I think there is a clause in any contract now that you have to disclose if someone died in the house. Very often how they died, you have to disclose all sorts of things now. So it's very likely that these people do know what happened in the house. It's also very likely that if they are the kind of people who would be interested in cleansing the house, having someone go smudge the house, that they would be doing it on their own by themselves. However, Mark, I do see your predicament, so this is what I'm going to suggest that you do. You can literally sort of, through meditation, I'm going to ask you to sort of sit quietly, and through meditation or through your healing prayers, send out that positive and that good energy. You can even smudge without even going in there. You can visualize yourself smudging and cleansing the house. You can visualize yourself giving good energy and positive energy to the house. And you don't really need to go in there. I would be very careful about approaching those people. I'm sure that they know what happened. If at some point in the future you get to know them, you get chatting to them, and they mention something like this, then you can absolutely offer your help. But you don't need to go into someone's house. You don't actually need to sit next to someone or hold someone's hand, or even, be within feet of them to give people healing. So there's no reason why you can't do what we call absent or distant healing on the house itself. and create a bubble, visualize a bubble around the house and create this beautiful and positive and wonderful energy that you can give to the house itself. And also, I'm sure, you mentioned Zachary, who I believe probably is the one who took his own life in this way, sending out healing to him too. And Greg is putting his hand on my shoulder as I say that, and Greg tells me to tell you also, Mark, don't worry about him because he is receiving help. So please, just send healing to the house in your way. Visualize smudging. Put your energy out there. Gather the universe and that universal energy to you and do it that way. Right, Chris.
Deidre has a question.
Morning, Deirdre.
I lost my dad a few years ago, and I have had a hard time with his death. Is there anything I can do to bring peace with his loss?
I'm assuming that, Deirdre, you mean peace within your own self, because I'm pretty sure, and according to Greg, I'm pretty sure that your father has found peace. But, our loved ones in the spirit world, when they come to visit us, they want nothing more, they want nothing better than for us to be living our lives to the fullest. And it seems to me that you're not doing that, my darling. So I think that for your father and also for yourself, I think you need to find more chances to laugh, more moments to be grateful for what you had, more moments of valuing the past, but allowing the past and the good of the past to sort of extend into your present and into your future. If you smile every day for your father, that's the thing to do. If you say hello to him every day, this smile's for you, Dad, or I'm doing this for you, Dad, just talk to him, let him know that you're with him. You'll find peace soon enough once you start to do that. But please don't worry about him. He's fine. It's you that you need to exercise all of that lovely energy that you've got and put it into making your present today, tomorrow, and your future the very best that it can be, because that's the best thing you could ever do for your father. Next.
Wookie Bear has a question.
Bear, good morning.
I love the name. I hadn't talked to my mom before she passed. I was wondering if she had anything to say to me. We had a falling out many years before.
Oh, well, I've got something to say to you, and I've got something to say to all of you out there who, we humans, we can be so petty, can't we? We can be so small-minded sometimes. We can be so, I don't know what the word is. It's almost as if we believe that our lives and the lives of our loved ones, they're just going to keep going on and on and on. And so it doesn't matter if you fight, it doesn't matter if you argue. Hey, you can make it up another time. You can make it up another day. You'd be amazed and very saddened by the amount of people who fight. They have an argument, they fight, they walk away from each other, and some tragedy occurs, and one of them passes and the other one is left with guilt because, and I think this is a little bit about what you're going through, darling, you're left with guilt, feeling that, if only I'd picked up the phone, if only I'd have just written her a letter, if only I'd have just gone around to see her, if only. And when you have passed into the spirit world, and those in the spirit world have these same thoughts, I left her and I should have spoken to her, I should have made it right, on and on it goes. And people come to me from the spirit world talking about how they left their children, how they left their husband or wife or their brother or their sister, and they should have made amends but just were too stubborn, too prideful to do it. So here is my message to all of you. Stop. Please stop. Life can end in a heartbeat. You can be here 1 minute and gone the next. Value what you have of every single day. I'm sure your mum's fine, darling, and I'm sure that everything will be okay. I don't think there's any animosity. I don't feel any animosity around you at all. I think what your loved ones in the spirit world really want you to do is just to get on with your life and make the best of it, which is what I'm saying to you. But if that situation occurs, or if there's somebody else you're not speaking to, I mean, please, everybody out there who's in this situation, be grown-ups. Would you just be a grown-up? I love you very much. I don't like you right now, but I do love you. Nothing wrong with saying that. If you've had a fallout with a sister, I really love you. I don't like you right now, but I do love you. When Samantha was a little girl, my daughter was a little girl, sometimes she would do naughty things and I'd say, I love you. I don't like you right now, but I do love you. And there's always a way around. If you are missing someone, but you're too stubborn to pick up the phone, or you're too stubborn to go knock on the door, get over yourself and get on with it. You would be amazed how many people in the spirit world have regrets. Do you want to be one of those people who has regrets? I hope not. So we've all got to work on this. Chris.
Nanny has a question.
Who?
Nanny.
Nanny. Good morning, Nanny.
Rosemary and Grey Eagle, I have a question about our upcoming move. There's so many obstacles. Our move has had in date. It's changed several times. I feel my dad, who passed, is trying to tell us something. Any help is great. Thank you.
Oh dear. I bet you feel as if maybe it's the wrong thing to do. Maybe you shouldn't do it. But it seems to me it's already planned and it's already sorted out, and and Greg tells me it is inevitable that you move. But sometimes life throws us these little curveballs. I think your dad is probably chuckling away thinking, gosh, if it's not one thing, it's another. But attitude is everything. So even though things keep happening to see, it seems that you're being thwarted, it is inevitable that you move. I think you know that anyway. So, just grit your teeth and plow through it. Have a good attitude, have a positive attitude. There's not anything you can do about delays, and especially in the times we're living in right now, delays are inevitable with anybody's plans. But, grit your teeth, hold on tight, keep that fabulous and wonderful positive attitude that I know that you do have. Everything will work out fine. Chris.
Elisabetta from Italy is asking.
Good morning, Elisabetta.
I'm going through a troubled period. Can Grey Eagle tell me when I will smile again? I have always behaved well in my life. Why are things going wrong for me?
Well, I think we need a lot more time, Elizabeth, than we have here this morning. But, okay. So the word trauma actually means change. So when we're going through traumas of any kind, it simply means that our life is changing. It was this thing and now it's this thing. These little trials are often sent to push us out of our own selves. I think probably the issue that you're having the most, Elisabetta, is that you're trying to hold on to the past. You're trying to hold on to what you know and what you feel comfortable with. And let me tell you, the minute you let go, and the minute you let God, and the minute you just move forward, accepting what's going on and move forward, and just understand that it's a change. Change is terrifying. It can be terrifying, but it's simply a change which won't be terrifying, because once you are through those changes, you'll be better, you'll be stronger, you'll be healthier, you'll be so much better in every way. So in the meantime, just know that, just hold on tight, darling. You can do it. You have the strength to deal with this. Life, trauma, change. That's how it is. And if you'd like us to put you on our healing list, please let us know. We'll gladly do that for you and send you healing every day. Chris.
Asma says,
good morning.
Good morning. Loads of love and blessings to you. I am in Portugal and would like to move to Amsterdam or some other European country for a better life and future. I need your advice on this. Will this be a good decision for me? Thank you.
Um, ooh, this one, I'd have to know a lot more. And, these are the things that we talk about when we have consultations. These are the things that we can help giving help and advice on. Um, I'm I'm not going to say whether it's a good thing or whether it's a bad thing, simply because I don't know and I don't want to make a swift judgment. According to Grey Eagle, it is a much more complicated issue than you're actually stating. So, my advice to you, my darling, would be either to find a medium who can help you, or find someone who you know you can rely on and trust for good advice, and or to go to a counsellor. You all know that I do take private consultations. I'm This is one of those times when I think it's so much more complex and so much more complicated, because I think that from what Greg tells me, that there is family in some way involved in these decisions. So not as easy and as cut and dried as it seems to be. Chris, let's move on.
Ronessa is on.
Good morning.
How do I get the names of my spirit guides? I know 2 are Native American, but would like to get names to call them by name. Although I feel they are my ancestors, that I do know their names.
Um, it's not that I'm flummoxed by it. It's about how much for me to say. Okay, even the greatest, even the most amazing, even the most thorough, hardworking of mediums, or people who work in a spiritual sense or in this spiritual realm, would absolutely not have 2 spirit guides. Spirit guides they're not like sweets. You don't just give them out. I don't understand. I think we're maybe getting the term spirit guide muddled a little bit with people who help and steer and guide you. And it may well be that your ancestors are Native American, and it may be that there are 2 of your relatives or 2 of your ancestors who are there with you, giving or trying to give you help and guidance. I certainly would not term them spirit guides. So I'm a little bit at a loss as to help you, my love, because I'm not quite sure what it is that you're asking. So if you'd like to email me, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, and let me know a little bit more about this, maybe I can give you some help and advice. But right now, I think that the term spirit guide, I think, is being used by you in a different way than perhaps I would use it. Chris.
Samantha's on.
Good morning, Samantha.
I lost my son. He would have turned 9 this month. Do you have a message from him? Hello from Italy.
I'm looking to Grey Eagle. I'm asking Grey Eagle for his help and advice on this. So, Samantha, what I'm being told is, what I'm hearing actually is that your loved ones are safe, that they are well. And I'm told, I'm smiling because I rarely hear this, but I'm told growing and strong in a spiritual sense. A beautiful, beautiful child, a beautiful, beautiful child. Oh, I wish I could do more. I wish I could say more. We're always stuck for time on these things, but I think try. My heart just goes out to you. the hardest thing in the world is for a mother to lose her child. I can say that is the worst kind of loss. But I do feel that everything is as it's supposed to be, everything as it should be, and that he's safe and well. Okay, Chris, let's move on.
Sandy has a question.
Morning, Sandy.
Can you speak a bit with Gray Eagle's assistance about Native American curses on people and lands? How can you remove them?
Curses. Okay. I'll have a go. I'll do my very best because Gray Eagle is putting his hand on my shoulder. So, you know, curses are funny things. They are one person and not necessarily Native Americans. I've actually not heard of Native Americans actually laying curses out there. I've heard of gypsies laying curses, of course, and curses can be pretty strong and pretty powerful because curse is simply one person's energy that is, and sometimes very powerful energy and a very, very positive energy, positive in the sense of, making sure that, these, whatever these curses exist. When we're talking about Native American land or any land that is a burial, has to do with burial grounds, whether it's Native American or no matter what, even in England, in some of the churches, if people want to desecrate the land that to some peoples are very, very precious, it can be very difficult. There was a church in England, I remember they wanted to demolish it. It was an old church and they got a wrecking ball in. You name it, they tried to get this church demolished. Eventually they did it. However, there were lots of people injured in the process. I think one person actually died in the process because, they were trying to destroy something that was sacred. So do curses work? I wouldn't even call it a curse, really. I think it's that when we interrupt the ordinary flow of things, when we interrupt the spiritual connections, when we go against what is good, when we do something to desecrate or to harm or to vilify a person's beliefs or a place or what have you, I think that there are often consequences. I think that there are things that we can do. We can go to the church and we can get the church involved and they can come and say prayers and they can throw their stuff all over the ground, sacred grounds and so on. There are lots of things that we can do. We can do smudging if we, as we talked about earlier, if we feel that a house is perhaps holding something, I hate to use the word curse really, but anyway, something similar to a curse or something that is of a negative energy. There are lots and lots of things that we can do to change things, but when you look at, especially you look at the Native American culture and you look at how their burial grounds have been desecrated for years and years and years, when you look at the Roman Catholic Church and you see how their burial grounds have been desecrated for years and years, if you go out into the world and you can sort of check and different religious beliefs, different religious belief systems are important to each person, then I'm not sure that it's that the land is necessarily cursed, but there are consequences to treating something that is special and pure as if it is not. That's as much as I think I can say on that subject for now, but it's quite an incredible and an interesting subject. Maybe we'll visit it again sometime. Chris.
Jay Breezes is asking.
Good morning.
Will the New World Order and Agenda 21 win?
I don't understand that question, Chris. Do you?
No, I have not heard of that term, Agenda 21.
So I'm a bit lost, darling. Not even knowing what it is that you're talking about, I'm going to say no, because that's what Cradle tells me. So whatever it is you've asked me, the answer's no. So I think, shall we move on, Chris? I might have hoped I could say yes. I don't even know what we're talking about. So, but anyway, the answer's no. It's Chris.
Okay. Maggie's on.
Morning, Maggie.
Rosemary, trying to hang on so much these last couple weeks. How is it going to be between now and Tuesday? Should I respond to a particular email or wait?
Wait. If in doubt, don't. Maggie, I think maybe you should call me and we'll have a conversation. You can tell me what all of this is about. Why don't you email me and we'll see what we can do. All right, Chris.
Darlene is asking.
Morning, Darlene.
Hi, anything at all from my husband after all these years?
Oh golly. Well, I'm sure that he would like to get in touch. But here's the thing, sometimes it's up to us to reach out to them. I'm sure your husband has been trying to reach out to you, but have you been receptive? And I'm sure you are now. I don't see or hear anything, but again, I'm going to advise you, find a good medium who can connect with him and maybe, and have a real connection, a real serious connection, because I'm sure that if you're ready for it, he'll be ready for it too. Chris.
The next question is from Marcella in Vermont.
Good morning, Marcella.
Rosemary, I just have to ask this. One of our lessons years ago was about our greatest fear, and mine was going blind. Well, I guess it's coming true.
Oh.
I have glaucoma in both eyes and macular degeneration in both eyes. I get injections every month and have lost all central vision in my left eye, and the right is getting worse. I am 81 now, and I just want to know if I am going to go blind. Thank you and love you.
I love you too, Marcella. I'm so sorry to hear what's going on with you. I don't think you will lose your sight entirely. It won't be anywhere near what you'd like it to be. But we're going to put you on the healing list anyway, and we'll send you healing. And please let me know how things go, my lovely. Let me know. I'm wondering if you still have the parrot. Do you remember the parrot, Chris?
I don't remember the parrot.
I think, well, I'll say parrot. It was a bird of some kind anyway.
Oh, yeah, she had birds for sure.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking of you with lots of love, my love. And we'll absolutely send you healing, but please keep us posted as to how you're doing. I don't think it will be I don't think you will be totally blind. I think you will have some a vision, not as much as you would like by any means, but please let me know how you do. All right, Chris, moving on.
Marios is on.
Good morning.
Hi, Rosemary from sunny Cyprus.
Oh, I love Cyprus. Oh, it brings back memories. Beautiful water. Yes, sorry.
Well, now you have me going with you there too. All right, so Marios is saying, I have been in various spiritual groups and I left for different reasons. Any advice from Grey Eagle? I was told a long time ago that my father was protecting me. Any comments?
I would say that that's so. I would also say that you're obviously on a search, and you know what they say: when the student is ready, the teacher will come. Maybe I can give you a little help in that direction and guide you in the way that I feel that you need to be guided, because I think if you were to focus on your healing, if you were to focus on those lovely healing hands of yours, and if you were to find someone who could help you, could guide you, and could teach you in that way, I think that would be that then would feel right to you. I think that the problem is that you haven't perhaps been ready as a student, and you haven't, and there hasn't been a teacher for you. But if you keep going with this, I think that you can find that teacher. You just have a lovely energy, a lovely healing energy. So don't give up on yourself, and don't give up on your teachers. I don't know Cyprus well enough to I don't know anyone there who I could recommend that could help you, but you're a very strong person. In some ways, you're too stubborn for your own good, but I think that if you get on the healing path, you'll find that that's the path for you. Chris, and please let us know how you do. Okay, Chris.
Bennett is asking.
Morning.
Hi, everybody. What happens to people who hurt others? Can the guardian angel of the offended person intervene by making the mistake made? And in the spirit world, do they pay?
Well, okay. Let's be clear. We all of us, I think almost every single human being on this planet at some point or another has hurt somebody else. We're not saints by any means. So when you're talking about hurting someone, do you mean physically? Do you mean emotionally? Because very often emotional hurts can be far more damaging than physical hurts. I think that we all of us have our regrets. We all of us have those things that about us that we really regret doing. And I think that part of the issue of, you're talking about retribution here. Will there be retribution? If somebody hurts another person, will there be retribution? And it depends, I think. It depends very much on the fact of whether or not someone is, seriously, regretful of what they do, or if sometimes people hurt someone else, they don't mean to do it. I had a lady who came to see me once wanting to know how her aunt was, and within seconds of her asking, is my aunt okay in the spirit world, I saw the aunt, and I actually it was being described to me in very graphic detail how she was strangled, and it actually was her husband who'd gone out on a drunken rampage, came home still drunk, and she started fighting with him and complaining that he was drunk, and in his drunken state he put his hands around her throat, and he had then stumbled off to bed, and it was only the next morning that he woke up and he realized, he found his wife's body, and he realized exactly what he'd done. I mean, should there be retribution for that? It wasn't a deliberate act. He wasn't deliberately cruel, and trust me, he's been paying for it ever since, both criminally and emotionally. I mean, it's too huge a question for me to answer simply and easily. So I'm going to say that sometimes, the person who does the harm is the one who gives themselves the worst time, with the regrets, with the guilt, and so on and so forth. I don't think that there's any guardian angel who comes in here, flies in and waves the sword and gives the retribution. I think it's a much more complex and much more complicated issue than that, and I've probably confused you completely, but that's my answer to that question for now. Yes, Chris.
Jay Breezes has come back and said,
Yeah.
Agenda 21 is a United Nations agenda.
Yes, but what is the agenda? Because it doesn't make it any clearer for me. I try very, very hard to stay out of politics, let me tell you. People are asking me all the time, do I support this or do I support that? I support goodness. I support kindness. I don't support anybody who goes to the hairdressers when at the same time they're saying to everybody else, you can't go to the hairdressers. Don't support that. I'm laughing about it because I've seen that all over the internet yesterday, I think it was. But even not knowing what the agenda is, I'm afraid the answer is still no. But I think it's more complicated than just a simple no anyway. Chris.
Adrian's asking,
Morning, Adrian.
are children named once they get to heaven if they passed away before birth? Who names them?
Well, often, even speaking as someone who has lost babies, we often have a name in mind, and even in the womb, we might call a child. If it's a boy, it's this, and if it's a girl, it's this, and so on and so forth. Well, it's a great question though, because I think that very often those souls who come here to have the experience, they are already named. But a great question. I'm going to investigate that question a little further. I'm going to find out more about it. I'm going to talk to Greg when we're on our own. He's laughing at me. I'm going to find out more. Keep coming with the questions, Chris.
All right. Mark has a second question. That's what we're
Yes.
moving around to. You and Gray Eagle may not have time for the second question, but I've had furnace and air conditioning issues with my new furnace in 2017, just after my beloved dad passed. And the insurance company has been just awful, and the
Oh.
repairs were done hodgepodge. And now today I have more issues. Will this, with my dad, G, and my spirit guide, help me to get my entire new furnace fixed? I've
I'm
had
going to
severe
help you.
health
I,
issues.
I'm going to help you, Mark. You're being too nice. You're being too kind. You need to go and get to your, who is it? Representative, political representative, your whoever it is. Who is it, Chris? Ombudsman.
Well, there's the Better Business Bureau here in the States.
Well, I've used a Better Business Bureau, and some I'm sure are better than others. The one I used was absolutely useless to me, but so I couldn't personally recommend them. But hey, your Better Business Bureau might be brilliant. Mark, stand up, be counted, be firm, and just go for it. You will get it all sorted out. But as long as you allow them to give you excuses, and as long as you allow them to get away with stringing you along, that's exactly what they'll do. Because for as long as they can keep the money in their pocket rather than putting it in your pocket, that's exactly what they'll try to do. So, darling, sometimes we have to be warriors. Your dad's right behind you. Go be a warrior and sort it out, my lovely. Let me know how you do. Yes, Chris.
Flower has both a comment and a question.
Good morning.
So it has to do with the Native American and curses question. It's
Yes.
sort of a follow-on. Yes, my people, the Dean Navajo, have people that do witchcraft against others.
Yes.
In ceremony with the medicine man is how it is discovered, and the medicine man prays and undoes what was done to bring harm to the patient.
Yeah.
I was told this was done against my husband, and it contributed to his death. Do you and Gray Eagle see anything about this? Thanks so much.
Oh, I am going to hand this over to Grey Eagle, and all right. So actually, I don't actually think that it was done to your husband. I don't think. I just feel there's such peace and there's such harmony around all of this situation when you're talking that it's very hard for me to believe. And Greg has his hand on my shoulder here. I think it's a tricky subject. But let me just say this also. I think maybe one day on our story time, I'm going to tell the story of a young man who was cursed, and it was his wife who put this I don't know, spell, whatever it is you call it, on him. And the boys, he was a young man. He was married with children. But his mother came to see me because she saw that he'd completely changed. People can only do to you what you allow them to do. Once you know what is going on, once you can see what is going on, then you can actually change it. But sometimes, as you've just said, there can be very powerful people involved with tremendous energy. And yes, of course, it can have consequences. There, it absolutely it can work. But I don't feel that your husband is in any way a victim of this. I don't know if this helps you. Why should you believe me anyway? But I just feel there's such a tremendous feeling of peace and calm, of kindness and goodness around you and around him. I don't feel that there is anything that is amiss there. So I'm not sure who told you that, but I would hesitate tremendously before believing any such thing, my lovely. Yes, Chris.
Mary is asking.
Good morning, Mary.
My children will start online school soon. Is there any advice that will help them succeed? And is it a spirit that turns on my bathroom sinks?
Oh, you've got a little poltergeist, have you? Maybe I'll tell the story about the wonderful poltergeist who turned out to be the twin brother of a woman. He would love to play with his nieces, 3 girls he had, and he'd passed when he was a twin at 4 days old. Anyway, that's a whole other story. I would think that you've got someone sort of trying to say to you, look, we're here and it's going to be okay. This business with the online stuff, I cannot be more infuriated by the stuff that is going on here in New York City. We have doctors who get on the subways and go to work. We have nurses, thank God, who get on the subway and go to work. We have people of every walk of life who have no choice who go to work. And then we have the teachers who say, oh, I'm not going to get on the subway to do this. I cannot tell you how more infuriated I am with this entire situation. And I would be very radical. I'd fire the whole lot of them, and then I'd invite all those people who are out of work, who have the capabilities and the teaching capabilities and the willingness to go and do what everybody else in this country is having to do, go to work. I would just, anyway, off my high horse now, because I've got a 7-year-old and I can see, his friends come to play and I can see what it's doing. My heart goes out to all of you out there who are having to deal with this situation. The only thing I can say to you is this. My grandson had online courses. They lasted all of 15 minutes just before when COVID first hit and just before the summer holidays. The teachers were on for 15 minutes, gave them homework. The homework lasted something like an hour. So all in all, they had less than 2 hours of teaching. Hold the teachers accountable. Make sure that if you've got, and there are some, please don't misunderstand me here, there are some fantastic, wonderful, incredible teachers out there who are just as frustrated as you and I, and who just simply want to get back to work, but they're not allowed to because of the unions and so on and so forth, all that stuff going on. There are some really good programs out there. Teachers are trying their very best to have these online courses on a daily level. Teachers should be working every day. If they're going to get paid, they should be working every day and being paid every day. And all of you out there who are teachers, who are real and true and good at what your job, you're agreeing with me right now. You have to agree with me. Why should you be let off the hook? So anyway, oh gosh, I'm on my high horse. Chris, what's going on this morning?
Well, it's interesting, Rosemary, because I was speaking with an administrator for an assisted living facility this morning. And they're already looking into what's going to happen over the next 5 months. They've come up with a 5-month plan. Right now, in order to visit the elderly, your moms, dads, uncles, aunts, etc., you have to make an appointment so that you can be spaced at least 10 feet away from another family, and you get 40 minutes to visit with them in certain hours. But she was saying to me today that in that state, they cannot invite people who give haircuts. They cannot invite people who clip toenails. And this is going to be at least for another 5 months. So these people don't get visits from their loved ones
It's a
enough or at all.
disgrace. It's a
Yeah.
disgrace, Chris. Don't tell me there aren't outdoor facilities. You can push a wheelchair outside, and Don't tell me that there are not ways to deal with this. It is a disgrace. We have to get off this subject. For all of you out there who are doing your online courses, who have to work, who have to be a teacher, even though not qualified, who have to be a mother, who often, many of you are having to deal with 2 or 3 children at once, sometimes more. My heart goes out to you. Hold the teachers accountable. Make sure that you're getting enough time with the teacher and the child so that the online teaching can work, can really, really work. I can see all of us parents and grandparents rising up. I can just see it. And let me tell you, I'm happy to lead you all. Just let me know. Just let me know. I'm the warrior here. Chris, oh gosh, let's move on.
Well, I
Before
want to
I
say
completely destroy my reputation.
I want to say a special hello to Tanya. She said hello, first time
Hi,
watching.
Tanya.
Mario said thank you, Rosemary. I will email you for advice on healing.
Brilliant.
Cheryl says, have you ever heard of the Universal Archives? I was told I have the ability to tap into it, but I don't have any idea how. I do seem to attract abundance for myself and others.
I don't know who's telling you these things, darling. Be extremely skeptical. I think you are a person who other people draw to, and I think you are a wonderful and an inventive and creative person. But you have to stop listening to people who don't know. You might consider I'm one of those people. I don't know about that, but if you do consider I'm one of those people, stop listening to me. People talk such nonsense about this stuff. Where is the evidence? Where is the, look, find the evidence. What can they tell you that precisely gives you the evidence that you're looking for to trust that they know what it is that they're saying? So, be discerned, be a little bit more discerning, my darling. And obviously you're asking the question, is it true? So at least you are being discerning in that regard, and no, it isn't true. All right, moving on, Chris.
Mary says the advice that you gave me last week about my daughter was very helpful. Also, sometimes my questions get answered just by listening to you help others.
Yes. Well, thank you, Mary. It's amazing, isn't it? Somebody's listening, they have a question in their head, and then somebody else asks the question, and you get your answer, and you didn't even have to move or put anything in there. You could just listen. So very often the advice that is given to one applies to many. Chris, yes.
Jay Breezes came back and said Agenda 21 is an agenda to enslave all of humanity. And I agree with you that goodness and kindness is the most important, and I appreciate your consistent kindness.
Oh, thank you, darling. Thank goodness I said no. What is that enslaving? Who would even put that up there? Whoever it is a fool. Anyway, thank goodness I said absolutely no. So there, oh, wow. Whew. Because nobody's going to enslave me, I can tell you now.
Okay, Delphine is on. She said, good evening from Belgium.
Good evening, Delphine.
I love to hear you talk and think the book is great. I was wondering if you have a message for me.
Delphine, I'd love to know which book it is that you're reading, because I have written a few. No, well, no, I don't at the moment. Delphine, I don't. I'd like to know a little bit more about you. Any specific area that you'd like advice on? If you can give me that, maybe I can help you. But right now, no. Chris, keep moving, going, keep going, keep going.
Nazhe is asking, how do you know the difference between foreseeing an event and manifesting it, or is it one and the same?
Oh, a brilliant question, my darling. Thank you very much for asking that question. It is true. Uh, and the proof of it is everywhere at any time. I'm sure some of you have heard me tell the story about the man who was told that he had cancer and he had 3 months to live. And sure enough, 2 months later, he was bedridden. He'd lost an enormous amount of weight. He looked like a skeleton. He could barely breathe. He could barely sit up. And his doctor had to come and tell him, unfortunately, we got our notes mixed up. There is another patient with the same name as yours, and he's the one who's dying of cancer, and you've got stomach ulcers. You tell somebody you've got 3 months to live, you can guarantee it, they're going to be that close. Unless you're a person who says, like me, are you kidding me? No way. I'm going to fight this every step of the way. It is true that there are people who are very, very susceptible to people like myself. For instance, if I said to somebody, oh, you and your husband are going to split up, and this actually is a true story. This happened to a lady in a town in England where I used to live. There was I'm going to use a term loosely, there was a psychic woman who used to come once a year, stay in a hotel. She'd stay for 2 weeks and she'd take bookings from people, and people would flock to her. And this one particular lady, she said, oh, your husband is having an affair and he's going to leave you. And she went home and she pulled her suitcases out and she thought to herself, oh, well, I'm going to leave him before he leaves me. And so she left. She took all the clothes and she left him a note. I'm told you're having an affair and I've left you. I think she was really hoping that he was going to say, don't be silly and go after her. But what he actually did say was, who told you that? When he found out, he just shook his head. You'd rather believe a stranger over me. He wasn't having an affair. He was a lovely man, but he wouldn't have his wife back because the trust was broken between them. And she came to see me and told me what happened. So yes, I do believe that there are people extremely susceptible to ideas being put into their heads. But there's not a lot that we can do about it, except when I talk to people about the future and about what is coming, and in fact those things that are really in the future for them. I'm extremely careful as to how I do it, and I give people choices. So if you go this route, then this will happen. If you go this route, then this will happen. Sometimes there is no choice, but I still am very careful how I give this information to people, and I'm very aware of my responsibility. So all of you out there, sometimes we don't even know how susceptible we are to things. And I remember being told years and years ago, you'll get a divorce, and it sort of niggled in my head for ages and ages and ages. Now, it happened that they were right. I did actually get a divorce, but that was because I found him in bed with another woman who happened to be my best friend, and on it goes. Yes, we can be susceptible. So when you're going to see someone, all of you out there, please be responsible for your own selves. Please be your own advocates. And don't, just because somebody tells you that something's going to happen, just because they tell you doesn't necessarily mean that it's so. So be discerning. That's the best we can do about that. But I love that question. It's a great question. Thank you. Yes, Chris.
I want to give you the heads up that it's now noon.
Okay.
You want any more questions?
We'll have a couple more. Unfortunately, my daughter has to go to the doctor, and I'm in charge of my grandson, and he'll be barreling through the door any moment now. So we don't have too much longer, but a couple more, Chris. Why don't we go for a couple more?
Asma's wondering if her mother, who passed away suddenly 4 months ago, has any messages for her.
I can give you a message from Grey Eagle to say that she's safe and that she's well, and that you have to keep smiling as hard as it may be for you to do that. Yes, Chris, next.
Wookie Bear says, my son keeps asking me to write a book on my life or my spiritual experiences. I was wondering if I should do it.
Why wouldn't you? Go for it. Why wouldn't you do it? Get busy. Get busy.
Mihaela, who is Romanian but living in Spain, asks, is there a message for me, please? Thank you very much.
Not right now, Chris. In fact, anyone, we, you know, when we're down to the wire like this, unfortunately, we do not have the time to deal with this. And it's, you know, I could sit here like a lot of people might do and say, oh yeah, I've got a message from your dad or your mother or your aunt. I could do all of that. It wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be true necessarily. So, you know, I'm always cautious when giving messages, and I like to take my time a little bit about it because it's the right thing to do. However, I can tell all of you out there that your loved ones are with you. I'm sure they visit with you, and all you have to do, please, if you can just do this for them, smile every day and listen, because if you pay attention and you listen, you will see them. They will in some way, when I say see them, they'll connect with you. Either you'll sense them, you'll feel them, you'll be aware of them in some way, and just try and understand they are with you and they love you. And thank you. And Grey Eagle says, and I'm to assure you all, we don't die. So on that note, Chris, I'm going to say thank you to Grey Eagle for being here with us today. I'm going to say thank you to you, Chris, for all of the great stuff that you've been doing this morning. And I would like to say thank you to all of you out there who come and join us today. We do love having you. We really, really do. And, you know, next time, if you didn't get your question answered today, next time come on a little earlier and try and ask your question a little earlier on. We shall be here next Thursday at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time. We shall be on YouTube, Twitter, 2 Facebook pages. We're all over the place, actually. And we should be back on this Saturday morning for Rosemary's story time. And so, you know, just bear in mind that I shall be telling, who knows what kind of a story I'm going to be telling. I haven't decided yet. 1 or 2 of them came up this morning, actually. I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll tell that one on Saturday. Maybe I'll tell that one on Saturday. I think I might tell the story of, because someone asked the question today, you know, about the difference between what we can foresee and what is sort of, you know, something that we can, like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I might tell you a story of how clear it can absolutely be when we see into the future. And this story concerns my daughter and my grandson. By Saturday, I might have changed my mind. We might be talking about something else, but it is a really, really good story. So join me Saturday, 11 AM Eastern Standard Time. We're all over the place. Just keep watching for us. If you would like to email me and you'd like to be on my mailing list, please email me, rosemary@rosemaryaLtea.com. Ask to be put on the mailing list specifically, or otherwise we won't do it. If you want to know more about our books, our guided meditations, if you want to know more about healing, if you want to know more about webinars, hold the 24th of October. We are working on getting something up on the 24th of October. We're going to be talking about mediumship and all that entails. There was a little glitch. Somebody said, you know, are you going to be teaching people to become mediums? No, I am not, because it's not something that you can teach. But anything you want to know about how the spirit world works and how this stuff that we do every week, how does that work, and what happens, and how do we talk to our spirit guides, and what are we supposed to do, and how are we supposed to listen, and so on, and how do we make ourselves much more sensitive and open to these things. We're going to do that on our first seminar, the 24th of October. So please join us then. In the meantime, please, join us on Saturday morning. In the meantime, please have a very, very blessed rest of the day. Thank you for joining us today, and have a very blessed rest of the week, my lovelies. And I'll be back on Saturday morning with story time. Thank you, Chris. Bye-bye, everybody.